Call of Duty enjoys bringing back maps that the community loves to hit you with nostalgia and get players onto the new CODs. Nuketown, Shipment, Firing Range are the first maps you probably think of that they use over and over again. But when is it too much? Rather than bring back the same maps again and again, they should bring back maps that have never been remade that the community still loves. This way newer players get essentially brand new maps they've never played, and COD veterans get to experience maps they haven't played since they were a kid. And that's why today we will be looking at the top 20 never remade maps in Call of Duty. What do you think should be on the list? 20. Erosion from Modern Warfare 3. Yeah, I'm talking about the face-off map. This was for 2v2 and 3v3 lobbies and would work perfectly for a gunfight mode like MW 2019 had, or a strike map. I have so many great memories playing the face-off mode, and I definitely played Erosion the most because it was one of the first two maps on the mode. It had a really cool setting in Naples, Italy, and it is bigger than most of the strike and gunfight maps, which allows it to support 2v2 to 6v6 very well. And I don't only want Erosion to come back, but also the face-off mode, because it actually allowed for kill streaks to be earned, which is one of the separating qualities of Call of Duty to other FPS games. It's one of the reasons I always found the strike mode to be dumb. Also, face-off had many different game modes from search and destroy all the way to domination. I ran specialist a lot and got many Moabs on Erosion, which was an absolute blast. 19. Detroit from Advanced Warfare. This is a great map from an advanced movement Call of Duty, which they almost never bring back because they were from advanced movement games. But it makes no sense to me because many of them would play good without the jetpacks, and Detroit is the first example in this video. Everyone viewed this as a small map from Advanced Warfare, but in Black Ops 6 it would be gigantic. In normal games it is a mid-sized map, which is why it can play perfectly for any type of player. We have close quarter combat within the 3 main buildings, then it has long lines of sight from both spawn areas to the middle of the map where the B flag is for domination. The only difference this map will have without jetpacks will be the inability to jump to 1 second story window and jump onto a couple structures. It will barely affect the gameplay of this pretty flat map that has a great layout. 18. Octane from Ghosts. The game, known for having gigantic and horrible launch maps, has only had 2 come back with Warhawk and Strike Zone, which is already a remake of Dome for Modern Warfare 3. Both those maps are great, but Octane is one of 2 others that I think is good from Ghosts. The other is Freight, which I loved, but I personally would like to see some mid-sized maps that focus on gameplay rather than camo grinding being the only reason people play. I'm sick of the 24/7 playlist of small maps, like Shipment, Nuketown, or Stakeout, the latest craze for camo grinding. Octane would be a perfect way to actually play Call of Duty like it's supposed to, rather than a headshot farm. What's great about Octane is the ability to use any type of weapon, while still being able to do well. There's buildings on both sides of the map for close quarters, the middle of the map is perfect for ARs, and it has long lines of sight from second story areas, but they don't have the ability to see over the whole map, allowing for flanking routes, or you can just outgun them. I'd love to see more things brought back from games outside of the Golden Age, because they still had many good things to offer, even if it wasn't quite as much. If you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button so I know if you want me to keep on making more of these videos. 17. Hunted from Black Ops 3. Another one from an advanced movement Call of Duty, and I can't lie and say this one won't play any differently, because it would. And not just because of the strict skill-based matchmaking, but because players won't be able to jump up from the bridge to the building or wall run along the side of the bridge for a safe rotation across it. But that's really the only change, which shouldn't break the map's good flow, quick gameplay, and overall aesthetic. There are 2 major lanes which differentiates itself from the traditional 3-lane design of Call of Duty maps. It works well because it has many openings for players to be able to cross through the middle of the map to the other lane, or to use the building in the middle to engage in combat each direction. It even has swimming lanes that work great to enter the main building in different ways, making it difficult for players to camp in, even without the ability to get there from the bridge. Overall, a fun map that also looks great. And somehow 84% of you watching still aren't subscribed, so please hit that button, it's free. I appreciate you a lot, boss. 16. Seatown from Modern Warfare 3. And I know this one is technically cheating because it's in Call of Duty Online, but I'm not counting it because that game was only in China, which means 99.9% of you watching couldn't play it. And like mini maps from this game, it's underrated. So don't be surprised when you see another map from NW3 later on in this video. But you should be surprised that Seatown is considered a small map, which shows how different Call of Duty used to be. Seatown is probably a top 3 biggest map in Black Ops 6. And what made it so good was the different levels of elevation, along with the cover to rotate throughout the map. The market in the middle of the map was pretty much the only place you never wanted to go because there were 2 second-story areas ready to delete you from existence immediately. But that's where most of the combat took place, right in the central part of the map, which made it really easy to have good spawns. This made it extremely rare to have any spawn trapping, which made it so you wouldn't get frustrated playing the map, it just played well. 15. London Docks from COD World War II. My favorite map from this game has never been brought back, but the USS Texas has. Just someone please explain that to me and make it make sense. It allowed for all different playstyles because it's a smaller map, but it isn't too small, which made it not complete chaos. There was enough room to maneuver in and out of combat, and the spawns were good most of the time. Then the power positions all had good counters, making it a fun, fast-paced map that never caused too much frustration. There's really nothing I'd change about it, other than it only being in COD World War II. 14. Plaza from Black Ops 2. Not only does this one have an incredible setting of being a floating resort, it also plays really well. This allows for the devs to easily change the surrounding area. So if they ever decide to bring it back, it would allow them to customize the map to the new Call of Duty it's in. It's rather flat outside of being slightly elevated at the B flag in the middle and the 2 ladders on the outskirts of it, which works well because it has many different routes to allow for easy flanking possibilities for SMG and AR users. It also is nearly symmetrical, giving neither side an advantage and lets the better team win 9 out of 10 times. And no one can forget the Skrillex song playing in the club. Just a really cool feature. 13. Hangar 18 from Black Ops 1. I have always loved this map and will never stop loving it. But some of you have probably never played it because this is the first paid for DLC map on the list. I'm gonna have 2 more of them in the video. And what was so cool about this map was the SR-71, aka the Blackbird, right in the middle of it. Arguably the best kill streak of all time, and it's a key piece of the playing field. But that's not all. The location is Area 51, where the Soviet forces have infiltrated, which is just a really cool theme and even has Easter eggs surrounding that theme, such as having some alien corpses on the map, and even the name Hangar 18 is based off the conspiracy theory that Hangar 18 and Area 51 contains UFO debris and alien bodies. Treyarch always does a good job with Easter eggs. And for gameplay, it was mid-sized with multiple areas of elevation, including climbing onto the SR-71. It was great for ARs, but also worked well with all other weapon types outside of shotguns. I think it would be a welcome addition to any Call of Duty. 12. Sideshow from Advanced Warfare, another one from a jetpack Call of Duty, and another DLC. It's based off a relocation of a clown inn. I don't know why, but that felt weird to say. But what's so unique about Sideshow is that it focuses on the long and close range combat, but that will definitely change in a non-jetpack Call of Duty because players won't be able to get on top of the 2 motel buildings. This is going to lead to less long-range fights and more close to mid-range engagements, which will keep it fun and fast-paced without being too chaotic. It's split up into 4 sections, with it being pretty much a square-shaped map. Plus, it's pretty good for aerial score streaks, with most of the map being outdoors. I really hope they wouldn't create a new variant of it and keep the location and theme as is. It's just an over-the-top map with its nightmarish clowns to make it stand out. 11. Arcade Inn from Modern Warfare 3. This is a great map that people don't really ever talk about. It's medium-sized and set in a shopping mall in Germany. And while it isn't a small map, it specializes in close quarters combat because most of the map takes place indoors. However, there are longer lines of sight out to the B flag area. There's no severe spawn trapping issue that a lot of close quarters dominated maps have. And when you heard it being indoors mainly, you'd probably think it had a kill streak issue, but it doesn't because the top of the mall, the main building, has a glass roof. I remember having many great games playing on it, and I think that has a lot to do with Arcade and having no great areas to camp, keeping the flow of the map continuous. You had to patrol areas and not just stay put in one spot. They did this by having things like a wall knocked out in the lounge or the bar in the mall having large glass windows, leaving these spots open for attack. It took knowing the map and spawn locations to know how to play situations, and I'd love to see that come back. 10. Stronghold from Black Ops 3, the first snow map on the list, but there will be one more. Do you guys have any guesses what the second snow map will be? Leave your guess in the comments. It's set in the Swiss Alps with a futuristic mansion in the middle, and you guys, the community, actually voted it as a top 20 Call of Duty map of all time, which makes it even more shocking it hasn't been seen since 2015. So what makes it good? Stronghold does a very good job with having open space while still providing cover. This gives the map a spacious feeling while encouraging movement. It does a great job of keeping fights with boots on the ground, so it will translate well to a non-advanced movement game. But the house may become a little bit more of a power position without the ability to jump into the second story, which will give one spawn a bit of an advantage. I still think it will be a good map and should be brought back. 9. Throwback from Infinite Warfare, the game people love to hate even if they never played it or spent 2 hours in multiplayer. So many players forgot about the maps completely, including the good ones, bad ones, and anything in between. And Throwback is the best original map in Infinite Warfare. One of the first things you'll notice about the map aesthetically looks like the 1950s USA, but it's on a space station. Just a really cool idea for a map setting. Throwback also showcased everything good about Infinite Warfare's multiplayer by having many good wall running and jump spot locations while providing fast gameplay on a mid-sized map. However, it didn't require the players to use the advanced movement for it to play well. It only provided the opportunity to use these features if you wanted to. The main part of the map, where most of the fighting happened, is essentially a square with many ways to enter it, including 2 second story windows that face directly towards each other. Kind of think about the 2 Nuketown buildings, sort of reminded me of that. This allowed for mid-range combat, but also works very well for SMGs with a lot of the close quarters areas throughout it. While it may not get hyped up if it's brought back, I think it would be great for everyone to get to experience playing on Throwback. 8. Grid from Black Ops 1. This is one of the most underrated maps in Call of Duty history, and maybe I should have put it even higher on the list, and it probably doesn't get talked about as much because it wasn't Black Ops 1, a game that has arguably the best launch maps of all time. Nuketown, Firing Range, Summit, WMD, and Jungle are the definitive top 5 maps people think about from Black Ops 1, which is probably why they're the ones continuously being remade. Even Havana and Launch have been remade before Grid. Don't get me wrong, I like those maps, but they are without a doubt not as good as this one. It's a mid-sized, snowy map, but the focal point of combat between 2 two-story buildings with a B flag in between them on low ground, which is why it plays the best in objective game modes like Search and Destroy, Demolition, and Domination. TDM makes it play a little bit slower, which is why it might not have been brought back yet. And this gameplay you're looking at is from 2010, saved in my theater mode of me playing with Ballistic Knife and Tomahawk only. It's the only way I ever played Grid because it had many flanking routes, with each building having at least 4 entry points. I always had a blast playing on it and would love for the newer generation to be able to try it out. 7. Cove from Black Ops 2. It's a smaller mid-sized map that's set on an island where a plane crashed right in the middle of it. Cove reminds me of Turbine from Black Ops 2 as well, but instead of a fallen turbine, you can enter in the middle. It's a plane. But of course, Cove is a much smaller map. I think the island setting was on purpose, that way Treyarch could make it stand out with more color. Then they used the plane crash to create cover and debris over the entirety of it. I've only ever seen positive comments from the community about Cove, which makes it more puzzling they haven't brought it back yet. As you go into the central area of the map, it's designed for close quarters combat, but when you go to the exterior of the island on the beaches, it has longer lines of sight, allowing for ARs, LMGs, and snipers to be more viable. Most of the time, the maps are enjoyed more when all weapon types can be used, which is something Cove does beautifully. And like a few Treyarch maps, they decide to have Hijacked in the ocean off in the distance for an Easter egg. Overall, why wouldn't we want to see a fun and aesthetically pleasing map come back? Which is a perfect way to describe the next one. 6. La Casa for Modern Warfare 2022. I know this game sucks, and many of you probably don't even remember it because it was added in Season 6 of the game. Is that why I put it at 6? Maybe partially, but just because the Call of Duty isn't viewed highly doesn't mean the game had nothing good to offer. And La Casa is a good example of that. It's a mid-sized 3-lane map with the middle lane being a bridge between the 2 main 2-story buildings where the fighting happens. It has the quintessential Call of Duty map design. There was no way for La Casa to not be at least decent, but it exceeded my expectations and allowed me to actually enjoy playing a game of Modern Warfare 2022. And if it was good enough to do that, Imagine it being remade and added to a better Call of Duty, where some of you would be playing La Casa for the first time. Sounds like a good plan to me. 5. Village from Modern Warfare 3. I made a video last year about the top 10 big maps in COD history, and I had Village on the list. And what makes it so good is that when you play it, it feels more like a mid-sized map, but has enough space for you to enter and do engagements in different ways, allowing for all playstyles to work well on the map. It's set up by having a creek splitting the map into 2 halves with a bridge going over it. Then they use the bridge in many game modes to push the action into the middle. The perfect example being the B flag and domination. One side of the map is a village that supports close quarters combat versus the other side of the map having a cave, a well, and a little hill that can be used for longer lines of sight looking towards one side of the village. It's just put together so well and is perfect for Call of Duty's fast-paced gameplay without being over the top. I would love to see it again. 4. Contraband from Black Ops 4. Set on an uncharted island off the coast of Colombia that allows for it to have crystal blue waters that use swimming effectively on a map without being a nuisance or annoying. Essentially, one side and lane of the map is mainly water, which could sound annoying to some people, but it's viewed as the second best launch map from Black Ops 4, only behind Seaside, which was already remade in COD Mobile. And just like the last map we talked about, Village, Contraband has a hotspot right in the middle with a bridge, which is a big part of the objective game modes. Then we have the Swamp Jungle lane, which in my experience was always the easiest route to take to flank your opponents. This gave Contraband 3 distinct areas, making each part feel unique while still feeling connected. Like most of the maps in the video, it's mid-sized. And that's because it's the most optimal way to cater towards every playstyle. Large maps can work well when done right, but the hit rate is much lower. Of course, small maps are great for a change of pace, but Call of Duty has become over-reliant on them. As we can see from Black Ops 6, where 90% of the launch maps were tiny, and every recent COD since MW 2019 has 24/7 playlists of small maps. Now 12-year-olds think Nuketown is a mid-sized map that plays too slow and want to play on Stakeout and Bullet instead. It's honestly really sad, and we need more maps like Contraband to be brought back. 3. Hangar from World at War. I absolutely love this map and can't believe it's never been brought back. I've always believed World at War maps are disrespected because the only ones they like remaking are Castle and Dome. Both of those are great, but Courtyard was only remade once in Black Ops 2, and Hangar, a top 3 map from this game, has never been seen since 2008. It makes no sense to me. It's set in Japan and is often compared to Vacant from COD 4, which has been within 5 Call of Duties. Most of the fights happen within the hangar, which makes sense with it being the map's name. The outside areas and the hangar are all geared towards close to mid-range combat, which is what most of the community prefers. Even the snipers like to get up close and personal. It also uses verticality to its advantage with many second story areas and divots in the elevation outside to create advantages and disadvantages in fights. But there's no power position that's impossible to overcome. Just a really fun map. 2. Mission for Modern Warfare 3. As you guys can tell, I love Modern Warfare 3, and many of its maps were overlooked and never brought back. I think Mission is the best example of this because it is never brought up in the best maps of all time, and it should be within the top 30-ish. I don't think Mission is the best map on this list, but I put it up at 2 because it's disrespected way too much. I always viewed it as a small map, but was shocked to see it's classified as mid-sized. I suppose I can see that from the severe elevation change it has. One team spawns on the bottom of the hill and the other team spawns on the top, which sounds incredibly unbalanced in that it would cause problems, but I never found it to be incredibly difficult to deal with because there were multiple ways to move up the hill with cover. But obviously, you still prefer to spawn up top. And what made it so fun was the middle section of the map being filled with close quarters battles. It was chaos there, but there were plenty of long lines of sight for anyone who wanted to play a little bit slower. One of my favorite parts about it was everything being outside, making score streaks incredibly good on it. A Reaper, AC-130, Pavlo, or whatever you wanted to use was dominant on it, including the no-skill multi-kill. Only bad part about the map. My final statement before doing honorable mentions. Bring back more Modern Warfare 3 maps. Alright, now let's have a quick list of 10 honorable mentions. Hanoi from Black Ops 1. Nighttime maps are always cool. Flak Tower from COD World War 2. A perfectly symmetrical map that always has the better team win. Gunrunner from MW 2019. One of 2 launch maps that didn't suck from that game. The Pines from Black Ops Cold War. Incredible setting and great for ground war. Arden's Forest from COD World War 2. Who doesn't love a good snow map? Yard from MW3, a small 3-lane map with a Borderlands-esque art style. Count me in. Skyline from Black Ops 6, a non-trash original map from this game. Shocking. Bootleg from MW3. I feel like this map was completely forgotten. It was just 2 spots off being on the list. 6-star from Modern Warfare 3. This game had so much good DLC when Sledgehammer could make their own content. Yemen from Black Ops 2. Underrated gem that was my 21st pick. But let's take a look at 1 Splash from Black Ops 3. A DLC map from an advanced movement Call of Duty is my #1 choice. 2 things devs look at and never want to remake. But you know the rules. 2 negatives multiplied together is a positive. I've never understood why a map being a paid DLC can never be remade, or a map being from a jetpack game can never be remade. So why not bring back one of the most popular paid DLC maps of all time from the most popular advanced movement COD? Seems like a recipe for success to me. There are a bunch of reasons Splash is so loved. To start off, the setting of a water park had never been done before, making it unique, and it allowed them to use vibrant colors all around the map. It made Splash feel over the top in a good way. It used water slides that all converged to the middle of the map, creating a choke point filled with action. And like most Call of Duty maps that people enjoy, it was 3 lanes, all with distinct themes like a water park should have, with Skull Bay, a pirate themed section, Kraken's Revenge, the middle of the map with all the water slides, and finally Riverslide, where most of the flanking occurred. Memorable maps are the ones that stand out from the rest, which isn't always necessarily a good thing, but it was with Splash. And if you want to know what Treyarch devs' favorite maps are, check out their top 15 Black Ops maps of all time here. I know you'll enjoy it. Peace.